Fatty 2x4, can't fit through the bathroom door. What's up, fat ass? Lard butt? Mister, how did you get so fat? I feel like I've not heard any of them. I've heard them all. I feel like I've heard every derogatory comment you can make about a fat person. In fact, a fat person is who I might say I love the most. There he is. It's my dad. All 550 pounds of him. Never was able to get my arms around him. He was never less than 400 pounds as long as I knew and loved him for the 35 years that I had him. I was fortunate to have him. He made me a man. He taught me right from wrong and to always keep my head up. Wasn't as easy for him. He suffered humiliations all of his life because of his size. I used to ask myself as a kid, why am I here? Why did I get this dad? I know in my heart now why. I thought I knew then, and I know why now. My dad was very used to humiliations, all of those comments that I just made, and so many more. So many insults, so many indignities. 13 years ago, though, was an indignity that I will never forget. The image will forever live in my mind. And it was the image after my mom had called and said, something's happened with Dad. You got to get up here. It's either a heart attack or a stroke. I'm not sure which one. And I remember driving up to their house really quickly and just simply saying a prayer. Let the caregivers be kind, because they weren't always. So I got there, and a small crane is lifting my 500-pound father through a plate glass window in order to get him into the ambulance. I'll never, ever forget that image. So we get to the hospital, only to learn that they can't diagnose his stroke. They can't tell us what type of 2 he's had because he can't fit in a CAT scan machine. And not just there in that hospital. There's not a CAT scan machine in the entire state of Virginia that my dad can fit in. Nowhere. It wasn't going to happen. So he laid in wait, and that's exactly what he did. 30 days turned into 60 days, which turned into 6 months, which turned into 6 different hospitals. Every 30 days, the doctors threw their hands up and they said, we don't know what to do, so we're going to send him to another hospital. One of the last indignities my father suffered was in the hands of some caretakers at this hospital. We had come through the emergency room because, let's face it, when a 500-pound guy shows up at a hospital, it's an emergency. So once again, we're in the emergency room behind a triage curtain, and we hear nurses fighting about the fat guy behind curtain 2. I'm not taking him, you take him. Have you seen that guy? And I pulled that damn curtain back, and I was like, this is my dad. This is our father. He's worked 46 years. He has 2 kinds of insurance. I assure you we're going to pay you. Not kind caregivers that day. They weren't good to him. They weren't good to us. He died. We knew it was inevitable. It was going to happen. But again, those images never leave. So it's about 3 months to the day, and I'm still overcome with grief, and not necessarily because he's no longer here physically, but because of the way he had to go out, because of the way he was forced out. So I'm still grieving, and I'm watching afternoon TV, because that's what you do. And I'm watching one of my favorite shows, one of my inspirations. She and I have a long past together. This particular day, and some of you may remember, she used to do a segment at the end of her show called Remembering Your Spirit. And so the last 5 minutes of the show were dedicated to people who were trying to renew or remember their spirit. And on this particular day, there was a woman who had lost her teenage daughter suddenly. She was trying to renew her spirit by honoring her daughter in something that she really loved, and that was summer camp. She loved going to summer camp, and this woman just started randomly sending items to summer camp for underprivileged kids, and my aha moment was born. I quickly got up, I went to the internet, sure enough, there they were. Weight loss camps for kids. Fat camps, as the kids call them themselves. They had existed for decades, and I felt like I'd found my answer. I was going to honor my father's legacy by sending kids to summer camp. I was going to try and help them not go down the same road that my dad went down. It's important to back up for a second and not forget this. When my dad was in the hospital back in 2001, he was one person his size in an average U.S. hospital. Today, there are 7. It took 4 caregivers to simply set my father up in bed. Imagine not having the use of half your body and being 550 pounds. I think that's pretty startling. But I did my research, I found the summer camp, and I sent 4 kids from my hometown in my father's name through a scholarship in our hometown set up through his employer to summer camp that first summer. I'll call them feel-good camps. Run kids around, have a good time, feed them less, and send them home a few pounds lighter. Problem is, they got home and they gained the weight back. While they were there, some other kids had told us that they had been coming to these camps for years. And I knew this wasn't the answer for us. We couldn't keep sending them, and nor could their parents. We needed something better. So I took to the internet again, I did my research, spoke with some trusted doctors, and I found the answer. A summer camp outside that did that and more. The difference was they didn't just run kids around, but they educated them about being outside. Kids are nature deficient these days. Do you know how many 15-year-olds don't know how to ride a bike? In this particular program, they got kids outside and they taught them the game of volleyball, the game of kickball, how to play softball, what that looked like, how it felt. They had no clue. They not only fed them less and better, but they taught them about what they were eating. They educated them on the food. Why do you eat this? What happens when you do? Journal the food you're eating. Count the calories. Here's a Calorie King guide. Be sure you're in control of everything you're eating. And put on a pedometer, because every day we want you to gauge what you're doing. But the real difference, the fix that fit, was this: cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. Largely used in drug and alcohol addictions to this point, CBT was being employed at this particular summer camp to help these kids understand their feelings around food, behavior, self-esteem. Not only did it inspire them outside, and they talked about the challenges that they struggled with as 300 and 400-pound children sometimes, what it meant for them in the real world. They got to hear it in groups and in individual counseling. It made a big difference. It made a big difference for her, on the right, Shauna. Shauna was very motivated. Her glucose levels were off the chart. She was ingesting way too much sugar. And she was gaining weight fast. And her doctor had told her she was on a fast track to diabetes, that she would have to give herself insulin shots. She was very, very motivated to change her life because she was simply afraid of needles and afraid of what it looked like to give herself insulin shots. She wrote us a powerful essay. We chose her. She went to summer camp. She listened to everything they said. She wore her pedometer. She journaled. She followed all the instructions, and she lost 20 pounds. It gives me goosebumps to tell you now about when her parents picked her up, and I could see that they had seen the light return in their child's eyes. She got it, and they got it for her. And she went home, and in the next month, she lost another 15 pounds with the help of her parents, because she taught them what she knew. They were very motivated for her. Who'll take 35 pounds in 2 months? I'll take it. Seriously. She got it, and she still gets it. My paydays come in phone calls. My first was from her, and she called a couple of months after and said, Mr. Lewis, I bought a 2-piece bathing suit. It's crazy that she had to feel good enough about herself to announce to me and the world that she had bought a 2-piece bathing suit, 15 years old. Just a few months later, she called again, Mr. Lewis, you're never going to believe this. Someone asked me to the prom. I got a dress. It's crazy to me, but it was inspiring. So I just kept doing it. I just kept trying to change more lives. I figured it could work for her. She's happy. She's 27. She's graduated from college. She's married, and she tells me today that she will raise her family this way, a better, healthier way. They won't have to worry about needles. Works if you work it, as they say in some other programs. Worked for her. And what are our options? That's the issue. What's the counterbalance of it? Well, the Center for Disease Control tells us the counterbalance for this is 12.5 million adults under the age of 20 who are not just overweight in the United States, they're obese. Now, I don't know about y'all, but adults under the age of 20 are teenagers to me. They're still kids. Any of you have a 20-year-old boy at home? Still pretty much a kid. 12.5 million, and the scientists who we ignored long ago about this epidemic, the scientists tell us of those 12.5 million children, 80% of them will grow up to be obese adults. Like what? Her? She's for real. 19 years old, 491 pounds. Who is going to employ her? Who's going to take the risk? What will happen? How long will she live? 65, like my dad? And if so, what does it look like? Someone will have to pay for the knees and the hips, the diabetes medication, the heart disease medication, the asthma medication, sleep apnea, you name it. At 19 years old, she's faced with each one of these issues. Fast track for disability, and the health care in this nation is already on a tenuous slide. This is what we're faced with. This is it, the soberness of it all. So, what do? How do we collectively begin to change things? I think one of the things we can do is employ civility in every way. Most certainly in the way we talk with our children, not just the ones at home, but in our lives, with each other. Hey, don't eat any more of those potatoes. You're going to get fat. Honey, do I look fat in these jeans? The note there being that fat is bad. The way we talk to one another has a big impact on certainly kids' self-esteem, how they view themselves and their place in the world. I take it very seriously. The second thing, if you or your child are trying to navigate the waters of weight loss, you have got to get help. I know this from many years in this field, that you are going to have to employ some type of behavioral therapy. Weight Watchers, group therapy, group support classes for weight, all of those things are available and are out there just waiting, but you're going to need someone to help you navigate these waters of weight loss, especially if you're dealing with a child this size. And there are many, I assure you. Lastly, she had it wrong. I think what's happening is this. This is the culprit. This just represents a percentage of what a kid ingests a year. This is a 10-pound bag of sugar times 10 is what the average kid ingests a year in sugar. 100 pounds of sugar. It's causing a whole bunch of medical issues, and it's wreaking a whole bunch of havoc on our nation, and most certainly on our children. Mary Poppins had it wrong. It's not a spoonful of sugar helping the medicine go down. In fact, it's causing the medicine to go down, which in turn is costing us more of this. These are our choices. We can spend more of this by ingesting this, or we can call attention to all of the things around us. The vending machines, the rewarding at school of food, using food as a reward. These are our choices, and I appreciate you listening. Thank you.